The tape started playing by itself, no power, no batteries, just a dead cassette recorder on a metal table, and a voice breathing into it like it was inches from my ear. Then the voice said my name, not my full name, the one only my mother used when she was angry. So here's the question. If a serial killer died in police custody 20 years ago, who's still making new tapes? Stay with me, because by the end you'll understand what those tapes were really for and why the last recording was never meant to be heard. This is a late night warning story, not about gore, not about jump scares, about evidence, procedure, locked rooms, and the kind of evil that doesn't need a body to keep working. We're going to go through one night, the moment the case reopened, the turning point, the worst part, and what it cost the person who pressed play. Then I'll tell you what followed, because the tapes didn't stop. They just found a new listener. One rule before we start. If you own anything that can record sound, don't leave it out tonight. Put it away, face down, like it can't see you. The case was called the Hollow Man. That's what the papers named him. Because he left no fingerprints, no fibers, no witnesses who lived long enough to describe him. Then they caught someone, a man named Curtis Vale. He confessed fast, too fast, and he kept asking for one thing: a tape recorder. They gave it to him. He recorded 3 tapes, then he died in custody. Officially, heart failure. Unofficially, nobody liked talking about it. I wasn't a detective. I was a contractor. One of those people who gets called in when an old evidence room needs digitizing. Boxes, labels, barcodes, the boring end of horror. The station was half empty that night, rain on the windows, fluorescent lights buzzing like insects, and a single cardboard box on the table with a red tag, "Do not play." Inside were the 3 tapes, and a 4th, unlogged. No barcode, no chain of custody slip. Just a blank cassette with a strip of masking tape. On it, in neat handwriting, "For you." That was the first whisper. Not a sound, a thought, the kind you don't feel like you made yourself. Play it. I did the sensible thing. I didn't play it. I sealed the box. I wrote an incident note, and I went to find the duty sergeant. When I came back, the box was open. The tapes were lined up on the table, like someone had arranged them carefully. And the recorder, an old interview unit, was plugged in. But the socket was dead. The whole row of outlets had been cut for renovations. Then the recorder clicked. A soft mechanical sound, like a jaw unlocking, and the reels began to turn. A voice came through the tiny speaker, not loud, not distorted, intimate, like it was speaking from inside my chest. It said, "You shouldn't have left it alone." I stepped back, and the voice laughed. Not a movie laugh, a tired laugh, like someone who's been waiting a long time. Then it said something that didn't fit, something Curtis Vale couldn't know. It said, "Check the ceiling tile above interview 2. I didn't want to, but my feet moved anyway. And when I pushed open the interview room door, the light was already on. On the table was a cassette recorder, not the station's, not evidence, new, and it was recording, red light steady, waiting. I reached for it, and the tape inside the recorder whispered, not the speaker, the tape, a dry plastic rustle, like a tongue behind teeth. I reached for it, and the tape inside the recorder whispered, not the speaker, the tape, a dry plastic rustle, like a tongue behind teeth. Here's what we know so far. There were 3 official tapes, a 4th that shouldn't exist, a recorder playing with no power, and a voice giving instructions like it still had a badge. I did the worst thing you can do in a story like this. I followed the instruction. I looked up at the ceiling tile. It was slightly out of line, like it had been lifted recently. I stood on the chair, my hands were shaking, and when I pushed the tile aside, something fell into my palm, a cassette, warm, as if it had been in someone's pocket. No label, no writing, just a smear on the plastic that looked like a thumbprint. Except it wasn't a thumbprint, it was too long, too thin, like a finger that didn't belong to a human hand. Soft question for you. If you found a recording hidden above a police interview room, would you play it? Because I did. I put it in the new recorder. The red light blinked once, then steadied, and the room went quiet. Not normal quiet, the kind where your ears start searching for sound. The tape began. At first it was just breathing, slow, patient. Then a voice, Curtis Vale's voice, I recognized it from the case files, said, I didn't do it. And immediately another voice spoke over him, calm, older, smiling. It said, you did what you were told. Then came the worst part. The older voice said, tell them where you put the rest. Curtis started crying, not sobbing, just leaking, like a man trying not to break. And he whispered, in the walls, in the vents, in the places you can't see. The tape clicked, and the older voice said, good, now make one for the next one. Then it spoke directly to me, not through the speaker, through the air, right beside my ear. It said, that's you. Here's my verdict. Curtis Vale wasn't the hollow man. He was a container, a mouth, a way for something else to leave instructions behind. What still doesn't feel right is the timeline. Curtis died 20 years ago. But the tape I found above the ceiling tile, it was warm, fresh, and the plastic smelled faintly of cigarette smoke. The kind they don't allow in stations anymore. Remember the opening, the recorder playing with no power, the voice saying my name, the one only my mother used. That's the hook. Here's the callback. On the last seconds of the tape, under the breathing, there was another sound, a woman's voice, quiet, angry. She said that name too, and then she whispered, he's not dead. When I snapped the tape out, the red light went off. The room lights flickered, and the chair stopped rocking, like something had finished listening. So here's my question for you. If you found an unlogged tape in a sealed evidence box marked, do not play, would you press play anyway? Tell me in the comments. L.